Welcome to this Empowered Conversations update. I'm Lindsay. I wanted to share with you today what a profound difference having empowered conversations can make in many situations. I have been privileged to work with thousands of people over the last 20 years. And the little story I'm about to share with you is actually one of my most favourite stories that really helps to highlight what a profound and positive difference having empowered conversations can make. So the gentleman I'm going to talk about, actually, I affectionately call him Dr. Phil. And obviously he's not the real Dr. Phil, but genuinely he was a medical doctor that actually was called Phil. So Dr. Phil shared with me that he was feeling very frustrated about his team. He shared with me that his team, he considered them to be very passive. His complaint was that they didn't really think for themselves or use their initiative. And the specific example that he gave me was actually that when he did his ward rounds, he said, I would go out onto the ward and the junior doctors would all be waiting passively for me to arrive. And then they'd see me and obviously acknowledge me, good morning, Dr. Phil. And he said, then we would go to the first patient and I would pick up the notes, and obviously we would talk it through and tell people, I would let them know what needs to happen with the patient, and they'd all be standing taking lots of notes, and everything was that's pretty much how things were. So and he said, it really frustrates me that nobody sort of thinks for themselves or uses their initiative. Anyway, I'm going to say, obviously, time elapsed and Dr. Phil became an enlightened communicator, and he learnt about having empowered conversations. So he actually said that literally within, pretty much as soon as he'd learnt about the skills, he implemented them. And I think he'd said literally this was about 2 weeks after he had been having more empowered conversations with his team. He said he went out onto the ward round. And he was quite shocked because the doctors weren't just standing there waiting passively for him to arrive. They actually were already had made a start on the ward rounds. They'd actually looked at the notes for a couple of patients. And when they spotted Dr. Phil, they said, oh, hi, Dr. Phil. We've actually already made a start on the ward rounds. We've had a look at these first couple of patients. We've had a chat. And here is what we are recommending happens with these patients. So Dr. Phil obviously was a little taken aback, but really pleasantly surprised at how quickly they changed when he actually started signaling to them that they had permission and were trusted to actually think for themselves. So I hope this beautiful story inspires you that I will often say, when you change, they change. And I think all too often we get frustrated by other people's behaviours, but we don't actually recognise that it is what we are doing that is creating or contributing to that behaviour. And when we actually start having these empowered conversations, then there is no doubt that people respond positively, and you will see an amazingly profound difference in their behaviour. So go to the world and have more empowered conversations. Thank you.